Kilo Delta 2 Alpha Bravo X-ray.
Very slowly, sir. Try again.
I'm sorry, I talk fast. Kilo Delta 2 Alpha Bravo X-ray.
Kilo Delta 2 Alpha Bravo X-ray. Roger. What's the name there, sir?
Name and handle is Mark, Mike Alpha Romeo Kilo. I'm transmitting from Haddon Heights, New Jersey.
Mark, you do speak fast. It was Mark, Roger?
Yes, Mark.
Roger, I was starting to say ARC. Slow down just a little bit. What radio are you running, sir?
This is a FTDX-5000 MP.
All right, and tell me about your antenna system.
The antenna is a 4-element Yagi. On this particular band, it actually acts as a rotatable dipole.
Roger. And you say it's a rotatable dipole? How is that?
No. It's a 4-element Yagi. It covers 20 to 10 normally. You can get it's a Mosley. You can get a kit for it to work on 40. But on 40, it's slightly directional, but on a normal way a beam works. But it's basically bi-directional.
Roger that. Well, sounds good. I'm running my two magnetic loop antennas in the co-phase mode. You're giving me about 15 over, Roger.
Yeah, you're about 20 over S9 here. I must be on you. So yeah, you sound really good. I was listening to your discussion with the other gentleman regarding SDR-based radios. There is latency with those, both coming and going. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, many of them. I have them come up as audio inputs to a 6-position rotary switch. I have 4 fire tablets right now, and the audio comes up on a 6-position rotary switch, along with my local audio. And many times when I'm using SDR, when I back off the key, I can hear almost the last sentence come back to me, Roger.
Yeah. It's not a perfect thing, but it's definitely advantageous. I personally don't believe in using the internet at all with ham trans. I'm one of those guys. I'm pretty new ham, but I don't like using. I'm pretty new ham, but I don't like using other means of technology. It's not. I don't feel it's in the heart or in the spirit of ham radio, in my opinion.
Roger. Well, I'm looking for the cleanest signal for my 100-watt friends. I want them to be able to hear the best signal possible. That's why we've gone out of our way to run the 4 SDRs, trying to get closer to them. Not always is that possible, but it is 4 options that I would have or would not have if not running them. Plus the same thing with the magnetic loop antennas. If I weren't running 2 10-foot magnetic loop antennas, I might not copy them very well with just the dipole. So, the name of the game, I think, is options. Roger?
Yeah, I guess so. Ultimately, you want to use what's best for you. Now, those SDRs, you're running remote right now?
No. These are internet SDR receivers. I'm monitoring Arlington, Virginia, Milford, PA, Rochester, New York, and Atlanta, Georgia. And they are 4 fire tablets. This is the first time I've had 4 fire tablets. I've had 2 fire tablets and a couple of PCs that I was using to give me the 4 internet SDRs. But today is a maiden voyage of running 4 fire tablets right here in front of me, and unfortunately the 2 new ones are set up on a router that's at the far end of the house, and so they're not as stable as they could be, whereas I've been running the other 2 older ones on a router that's like 10 feet away. Roger?
Yeah, a couple of solutions to that would be a repeater, or they do sell that. They don't let you buy or rent that or buy it to your ISP, or you can use, doesn't give you any problems, you can use the electrical router that goes through your electric to connect to your Wi-Fi.
I've got a router 5 feet away. I just, unfortunately, I've got my 2 new tablets assigned to a router that's about 110 feet away. So, it's just a matter of changing the router for the 2 SDR receivers. Not a problem. It's just, unfortunately, at the moment, I'm kind of tied up, Roger.
I hear you. It sounds good. It sounds like you're really getting into the spirit of the new SDR technology. You know, I have no problem with it. I have an SDR radio. I have an SDR IQ box. You know, and I'm also very heavy in the computer side. But, you know, I guess receiving is fine. When you start transmitting remotely, and especially when they use it for contesting, it's kind of iffy.
Yeah, Roger. Well, we went through all kinds of tests when we first started with our first mag loop, and we did do quite a bit of shootouts between it's a 10-foot vertical mag loop, and we did a lot of shootouts with it and our normal dipole. I must say our normal dipole is a perfectly tuned resonant antenna. Normal SWR on that antenna is 0.02, so it is a champion resonant antenna, so the mag loop really had a job going up against it, and unfortunately I find that mag loops are not quite as hot a lot of times as the dipole, so I am running I decided to just run the dipole as a transmit antenna, and I'm just using the mag loops as receive antennas. Roger?
Yeah, I heard all that. Okay, yeah, well, you know, it seems like you got a lot of traffic here. I don't want to hold up the frequency too long. So, let you complete some of this traffic. KD2ABX, be honest with you, I didn't write your calls down, so you can finish.
Roger there, Mark. And I've looked at your signal. You have about 3 dB dynamic range, which means your average percent of peak modulation is between 80 and 85%. And your audio EQ curve is just perfect, coming in right between Qso and contest. So you couldn't ask for better EQ. So we'll say 3s for now. You have a real good afternoon, great weekend. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.